welcome to the Southwestern PA Business Podcast. I am here with Craig Pritts today of My Benefit Advisor, Chamber Choice, and World Connect, and we're going to get into what he does, how he helps chamber members, how he helps beyond that, and find out just a little bit more. So welcome, Craig. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
And so tell me a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah. So me personally, I've been an employee benefits specialist for about 18 years now. I started in the industry. I've been with the same company the entire time.
Wow.
Yeah, we've gone through some name changes. Today we're My Benefit Advisor. I know, longevity, right?
Longevity,
it's great.
I like it.
I love it too. But yeah, 18 years in the industry. I am the industry pain in the butt. So I ask the questions why. I need to dig down to why everything is. And over the years, I think that's really, put me in a good position, helped me be very knowledgeable.
Well, what can you tell me about My Benefits Advisor?
Yeah, so My Benefit Advisor. We started in 1992 working with Chambers of Commerce under the Chamber Choice umbrella. It's crazy, but to think back in 1992, a whole bunch of chambers got together and said, boy, health insurance is really a problem. How do we bring better options to our members? And so for the last, how many years, 30 years or whatever, we've been working with chamber members to basically bring things that they can't get elsewhere. When somebody joins your chamber, we want them to know that when they come to us for benefits, that they're getting access to special deals, programs, HR resources, things that they're not normally going to get off the street.
That's good. That's good. It's important to everybody. And so all these chamber directors, and I like that, being a chamber director myself, and they thought, how can we help everybody? And that's when you guys came along.
That's correct.
And so how does it work exactly?
Yeah, so we started back in the day working with maybe about 100 chambers or so across the state. We pull those together to form a larger group, more buying power. Our parent company today is Emerson Rogers, a division of USI Insurance. We have a lot of buying power on the top end as well. And really it allows us to put together a really deep toolbox for your members. So in that deep toolbox, yes, we work with every insurance company you could think of, and some of us give us little special deals because of the volume we do, and some have put together some special programs for your members. But the idea is, back in 1992 when the program started, there was only really one insurance company in Western PA, and we had their guaranteed lowest rate. So it was a no-brainer, right? Why would you buy your insurance anywhere but through a Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah.
A lot has changed. We have the Affordable Care Act. We have a lot more options in the area today. So there's really not a one-size-fits-all for everybody out there. But when we understand a company, their risk, and what they really represent, we can really go into that deep toolbox and find the best option for everybody. And so what we tell your chamber members is we have more solutions than really anybody else out there. Whether it's fully insured, a lot of people, that's the easy way to go, your Highmark UPMC, level funded, a great concept today that helps companies kind of understand their risk a little bit better.
You're going to have to go more in depth on that.
Yeah, that's a really cool. So, when we talked about health insurance years ago, we would talk about companies being fully insured. You go to your insurance company, you say, here's my data, and they say, here's your rate. And then over time, as we talked, new products have come out, but larger companies it's always been smart for them to self-fund or self-insure. Really to take on that risk themselves and put a stop-loss policy or protection piece on top of it. So in the original days, we kind of had fully insured and we had self-insured, and self-insured was really designed for larger companies. You had to have a lot of people to be able to spread out your risk. Well, level funded comes along and it says we're going to take somewhat of that concept of self-insured a little bit, and we're going to take the fully insured concept and we're going to kind of blend it together. We're going to bring something neat for smaller companies. And so now companies today that maybe are less than a couple hundred employees, maybe down to even 5 employees, can have a level funded plan. And what that means is the insurance companies looked at their risk, said, here's your rate for the year. Now they're assuming a certain amount of risk, and if you're at the end of the year, if your claims come in below that risk, they return money back to you. Yeah. If your claims come in over that risk, they've tapped into the stop-loss policy that they put on top of it as a protection piece, and you're probably going to get an increase next year, like we do today, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But level funded is a concept that allows employers to get some data on their usage. And if we're being honest about this industry, if we're really going to direct people to the best carriers, we have to understand their risk a little bit. We have to know what their claims are like, how much risk they have. Level Funded gives us some of that information. And so it is just one of the many tools in the toolbox that we can pull out that can help us bring lower rates to a group, help us understand that group's risk, what's driving their cost. If you take prescriptions that you see in your nightly lineup of TV, the 7 to 9 commercials,
oh my gosh,
they're very expensive.
Yeah.
They cost a lot. They drive premiums through the roof. But if we understand what prescriptions are there, there's steps we can take to control those costs. So there's some really neat concepts.
Well, and every time you go to a doctor's office, they give you a prescription
right.
or something. They're like, here's another one. You're like, I don't really, but here's another one that goes with that
yeah,
one, because that one's going to do this to you. So I'm going to give you this one to offset that
That's
one.
That's right.
And then, there's people that I know who are on 20 pills.
That's right.
20.
So
that's a lot of pills in a day.
I love my doctor.
Not to go off on a tangent. Yeah.
And sorry, I love my doctor. I'm going to get on a tangent as well. But last time I was there, we were joking because I said, "You're just a drug dealer." And he laughed at me. He said, "What?" I said, "Well, I come in and tell you what's wrong, and you tell me what the drug is for it." But I said, "We don't have many conversations about my lifestyle changes instead of the drugs." And so I do think that's one thing that's missing in our industry, and that's not really something you're going to find built into health insurance. But since we're on that side note, yes, we need to do more to educate ourselves. We need to have more of those conversations. If I'm being truthful, I studied the costs, the drivers, the prescriptions, trend is it's going straight up, and it's not going to slow down.
No.
Our rates are not going to get level or even lower at any point in time unless we do more personally.
And I do agree with that. Like, I just think that the industry, they don't say, go for a walk every day.
No.
See what happens.
No.
Eat more fish.
I would love to
take
hear,
a magnesium pill.
Right.
It's always like, here's this.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
I would love to have a conversation someday where a doctor says, you can either take this drug or you can change your lifestyle this way.
Yeah.
And here's the results of both. You're going to get healthier one way, and you're going to have more drugs the other way.
Yeah, and still be the same
right?
beneath it all.
Right. But the idea is as we identify those drugs, we can't have those conversations with people about taking different things, but we can help them find more cost-effective ways to get those drugs.
Yeah.
And that's not always available with a fully insured plan, but it can be with a level funded plan. And then if we're talking about that deep toolbox and where do we go from there, level funded can be just a stepping stone into, should I really be self-funded? Should I really be taking on, and because with level funded, we're assuming, the insurance company's assuming a certain amount of risk, and they're setting your rate there, and that's your rate for the whole year. But with true self-funded, you pay the claims as they come in, potential for a lot less out of pocket, potential for a lot more, so we need to be smart about it. Understanding a group's risk can help us determine where they're best suited. Self-funded captives are a really great concept today because we can take companies that are maybe 30, 40, 50 employees and combine them with other companies of similar size to create a larger risk pool. And when we understand their risk going in, we can bring their rates down by combining them.
Because then you have the super healthy person who's like, hey.
They offset it, right? They
I'll
help.
do anything. I'm
right.
Great.
That's right. Kind of that's the whole concept of insurance today, and that was the whole idea of the Affordable Care Act. Unfortunately, when we combined all that risk together, we're seeing rates go up. So we need different tools to control the cost for the groups.
Yeah.
And our toolbox, it just keeps going.
Well, and it reminds me of like bringing health and wellness people into your, if you have a larger employee base, like bring those people in.
Yeah.
And then you can train people,
Yeah.
and then they might, reduce your rates there over the course of a few years.
That's right.
Because they do like bonuses now, like different workforces. Like if you work out, if you do stuff, you can all the people can just click it off. But
a lot of great concepts out there for businesses. So, we have a lot of conversations with businesses, and I have a lot of people come to me and say, if we put in a wellness plan, how much will my rates go down? It's a really tricky conversation to have because depending on the group size, it may not be at all, but your employees may get healthier. They may call off less. They may be more productive.
Yeah.
But your rates may not go down because of the size of your group.
And the whatever elements that they have.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we talk about wellness, what I say to groups is, it's important. It is very important. It may not impact your bottom line, But if we start talking about it with everybody, now if Western PA, everybody gets involved in wellness, yes, now we're going to see our rates go down because the collective. But the truth is we're all kind of blended into similar risk pools with the insurance companies, and that blending impacts our rates, unfortunately negative. And like we said, our doctors are drug dealers, and so every time we add one of those nightly lineup drugs on there, the cost goes up by thousands of dollars a month.
You're going to start the anti-pill coalition, aren't you?
I don't think we need an anti-pill, but I think we need a smarter pill.
Yeah.
I'm here. I've used myself as an example in past talks like this, so I'll do it today. I went to see my doctor years ago, maybe 5 or 7 years ago. Time flies, and he put the scope down my throat because I was having some stomach pains, and he said, "Craig, it looks like you might have the beginning of an ulcer and maybe a little bit of a polyp." And he said, "Here's some drugs. Take all these pills." And I went home and I started researching. I mean, they weren't horrible, like side effects, but I jumped online and I said, "Well, how do I get rid of an ulcer? How do I get rid of polyps? How do I not have this?"
They're like, drink milk of magnesia.
It was like, "Well, change your diet, dummy."
I don't know if that's true. Don't listen to me.
AI was like, "Change your diet, dummy," right?
Yeah.
And so I changed my diet. I went back a year later, got the same scope. Swear to you, doctor said to me, "Wow, we've never seen the medicine work this well before."
And you're like, I didn't use it.
I didn't even use it.
I don't even use it. Like
Nobody talked to me about lifestyle changes.
They've given me pills for like, I've had a hip problem forever, and apparently this leg is shorter, to all of you who care. 0.25 shortness. But it's like I've gone and got an MRI, I've had an X-ray, and then the pills, they're like, here's a pill and here's a pill, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not actually helping what's going on. And so then they send me to PT, and I'm an OMT, so I still go to OMT because it's like quarterly. I'm like, I can deal with quarterly. But physical therapy is 4 days a week and like very expensive. And I'm like, how about I don't run because I'm good on that anyway. And I'm like, I start actually lifting weights, and I start actually stretching, and I start actually doing like lifestyle changes. And I went back to an OMT, and they were like, "You're doing all this? This is wonderful." I'm like, yes, I mean, I still have pain occasionally, like it's fine. But I'm like, I don't think I would have been any better off doing PT and spending all that money and going through insurance over and over than me sitting there with a couple weights, like just slowly progressing up and like stretching and using a roller ball, like a.
Yeah.
So it's just,
utilizing more resources.
I think our society is so like, well, we want to fix it today.
Yeah.
But I'm like, they're giving me major muscle relaxers. And I took it the first day and it did totally work. I was like, wow, this is great. And then the second day I got a headache. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not a pill person. I'm like, I don't even like taking Advil. I'm like, that'll affect my liver. Like, I'll stay away from it unless I need it. But yeah, I'm never been. I don't like them. I think like
we like our cake and eat it too, right? But I tell you, there is something so empowering about doing it the way we're talking about, right? Like there's something so empowering and it feels so good when you actually do facilitate a change on your own as compared to just taking the prescription. Like when you change your lifestyle and get positive results, that is a great feeling. And listen, I see it every day. There is a grassroots movement. It's coming from the bottom up these days where people are talking more about what are the foods that I'm eating, what are the impacts they're having, what's in my food, you know,
what's in your water.
Yeah, was my water good or bad? You know, these conversations are happening more and more, and we need them to start happening more. You know, health insurance is there for us when we need it, but I think we rely on it a little too much today. As I don't want to do the other things I need to do to get healthier. I just want my cake and eat it too, kind of thing.
I want a quick fix.
Yeah,
everything's fast now, and that's, you know.
But you know, I think to your point, you were talking a little bit about physical therapy and stuff. There's so many tools and resources available today that people just don't know about. You know, let's be honest. Health insurance is very overwhelming. Insurance costs are going up, so it's a very painful experience for business owners. But as employees, we go to open enrollment every year, holding our breath. How much is it going up this year in cost? Is my deductible going up? Is my co-pays going up? Is my prescription still covered? Like, these are the things we stress about. And during open enrollment, we don't really get the opportunity to get into all the good things that are in our health insurance that can help us. Physical therapy can be done with certain companies these days at home virtually. Like, so we think about how much of a pain physical therapy is to work around our schedule, the kids.
And that's part of the reason I didn't go. I was like, I can't fit this in.
Right.
There's no time for this.
Yeah, I got work in the morning. I got kids. I got activities. I'm an Uber driver for my kids. I'm a chef. Like, we take on so many responsibilities, but being able to do PT in the morning or night or at lunchtime at home can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of tools and resources out there, but I think our industry is changing so much that people are just blinders on to those changes, and we don't get the opportunity to really dig into what the added value benefits can be that can help us. You know, what are the resources out there that we can turn to that can help us get healthier? I probably not a week goes by that somebody doesn't mention the app Yuka to me. Have you ever heard of that app? YUKA? It's a good one for you out there.
Is it free?
It's free.
I always ask that.
YUKA. Got a little picture of a carrot on the app.
Cute.
So, yeah.
I think I've seen that, but I don't know it. Go ahead.
So there's a scanner on it, and you can scan the barcode of any food. And I even had people tell me they do it for makeup as well. Now, I don't use makeup, so I haven't scanned any makeup, but you'll have to comment and let me know if that's true. Scan the barcode. It tells you what's in the food, what's good, what's bad, and what the bad things do. So you might scan, like, not to call out Cheerios.
I know you were going to say Cheerios.
I scanned Cheerios because I was sure my granola, my Cheerios, I was positive I was eating healthy, right?
Yeah.
My Cheerios had something in it. It has 42 letters. It's potassium phosphate. Try this. Like, you know, there was more consonants in a row. I can't even pronounce the word. But then I looked up what it did, and I'm like, well, that's just bad. That's pure evil. That causes all kind of organ failures and cancers.
And it's like the West Virginia just banned food colors. Yeah. And I'm like waiting for it in Pennsylvania. I'm like, can you do that?
You know, because and we're going to complain about it because our Cheerios won't be the same color, and our Fruit Loops won't be all.
We'll have to use beet juice.
Right, or something. But I think people are starting to use this Yuka app, and they're starting to talk about it because you can go through your entire pantry and be like, oh my God, I thought that was good.
Don't even look. Well, I have a firm belief in, like, always eating fruits and vegetables. Like, you have to watch your fruits to make sure, like, apples and strawberries are organic, because then, anyway, the thinner skinned fruits are the big worries. But, I believe in the antioxidants of the vegetables. I'm always eating them, and, you know.
I can't wait for the farmers markets
all the
to
other
start
stuff.
Again. The farmers markets around town. You go and buy fruits and vegetables at a farmer's market and then buy something from the grocery store, and they're not even in the same league.
No.
Like, I don't even know how we call strawberries from the grocery store strawberries after I eat one from the farmer's market.
And I'm about to plant the seeds for my garden, so hopefully I grow stuff this year. I have a little mint issue in that it's everywhere and I can't get rid of it. And my garden's been very clay for a couple years, so I have to, like, I have eggshells. I'm ready.
Oh,
you're I got coffee grounds, eggshells. I'm like, we're gonna do something here. I'm gonna get things to grow this year. But that, like, growing your own, you can do them in, like, pots on your porch. It's at least you know where it's coming from. You know it hasn't been sprayed with pesticides, and it's super cheap. It's $4 for $1 at the dollar store. Like, that's inexpensive to grow a vegetable. I mean, you're gonna eat a lot of zucchini.
Growing one watermelon that got to be this big.
Watermelon's hard.
But it was the most satisfying watermelon we had.
Right?
We loved it. We divided it up between the family. Everybody got a little piece, and it was the best watermelon.
I had like 5 corn stalks one year, and I had 1 ear
What a
of
great
corn.
feeling, though, when you eat
like,
that one corn, right?
Yeah. Zucchini I can grow like hundreds of.
Yeah.
Like, it's no problem. Nobody really likes zucchini that much. But have you heard of the new Aura rings?
No.
And they're going to start, well, we'll see what happens here, but they're going to start developing, and I'm sure all the mobile companies, everything. So I went to the dentist like 2 weeks ago to get my crown put in. And this young girl is talking to me. She's a dental assistant. She's like, you know, adorable. And she has this ring on that looks almost like a wedding band. Like, it was like,
oh, yeah.
So she goes, so this monitors all of my health. Everything.
Yeah.
She goes, I know somebody who had it on. They found out they had high blood pressure. She goes, I know somebody who had it on. They found out they had cancer from it. Because it monitors your whole health, how you sleep, and it goes on and the list. And I know there's another one that, like, somebody just developed a wristwatch. So I see these coming out. Like, right now they're pretty pricey.
Yeah.
I think they're upwards of $500 for this ring, because I wanted one immediately. I was like, I want one. I want to know what's going on. But I think that's going to expand. You're going to see them under every company. The price will drop. You know, it's the early adopters right now who are like, look at this.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's coming.
Yeah, because I think Samsung has a similar one. in the 200s, but it's more like a smartwatch that's now a ring. So it's like, anyway, but that'll be great to see.
Ways to help us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
All
then we
these
just have to
different
figure out
health
how to get
tools.
healthier as a result of that knowledge. What do we do with it?
Yeah, what do you know now? How
Yeah.
can you fix it?
And you know, that's one of the big ways that we approach things. You know, you're talking about an individual person, but when we approach a group, you know, we're trying to figure out what risk is there. You know, and there's ways you can go about it. You can kind of, we can get some reports through some avenues on employees' usage. Not identified, you know, you'll never see, you know, Craig went to this doctor, but I might see within a group we've got these list of 5 prescriptions. And what are they most commonly used for? And so you can start to
You can know what's going on
figure
without
out a little bit of
I'm
risk.
sure the same things come up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea is, you know, you got to figure that out to know where you're best suited. If you're just having somebody spreadsheet 3 or 4 companies every year, you know, you're not really doing yourself a benefit because you're not understanding your risk. You know, I can understand your risk and I can show you the best fit without spreadsheeting all of them because I know where the best fit is based on your risk. That's what it's really about, you know, and I think that's where your members get something a little bit different. That deep toolbox is really designed to figure out what's driving your cost, how do we get it lowering those things, and how do we lower your cost as a result of that.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, everybody
Because
comes at it
employees
with,
should want healthy workers.
that's everybody
like,
should, right? Because
yeah.
they call off less, they're happier, they're more productive. We should all want more, you know, healthier workers. But the truth is we're really blinders on to that number. You know, that number that keeps increasing every year, that keeps going up. Double digits some year increases on our medical insurance. You know, as much as we want healthier employers, we want to control that bottom line. And so that, you know, that's the approach we take. I think so I use the blinders. You know, everybody comes at us with blinders on. It's Craig, tell me about the medical first. Let's focus on the medical. What is really cool for your members, though, when it comes to dental, vision, life, long and short-term disability, we do have very specific, discounted, enhanced programs just for your members, things that they're not going to find off the street. So yes, we might be dealing with an 8 or 10% increase on the medical, and we're going to focus on what we can do to control that, but we're going to help offset it with decreases on the other sides as well.
That's nice.
And then where people get really, really excited about the program that's available to your members, once we take the blinders off, now we put the medical, we've got everything figured out, we're comfortable with it, your members receive a suite of HR services. Like, when it comes to any issues at all, there is a local call center. I mean, no disrespect, but I call it our Yinzer team. That's how you know they're local. Every now and then they'll drop a Yinzer. Hey, how Yin's doing today? But it is a local call center just for all of your members to call when they have issues with their insurance. I lost my card. I got this thing in the mail that says EOB. Do I pay it or not? What does that mean? They call us. One of the more common things we get is, I'm in line at the pharmacy and the insurance company said I'm not in the system today. Our team will say, stay right there, we'll fix it, we'll call you back in 5 minutes.
Well, and it's nice for like a larger employee base, like even, I don't know what number, but they don't have to go to their HR manager to call in about a card missing.
Yeah.
It's not another disruption for what they're trying to do. They can just call in.
And they shouldn't go to HR, because here's the funny thing about that. We violate our own HIPAA all the time. We go to HR and we're like, hey, I went to the doctor because of X.
Yeah.
HR doesn't want to hear that. They shouldn't hear that. They're not allowed to know that. That's your private protected health information. So you don't want to be sharing all of your issues. We do it though. We go to HR. We think, they're there to help me. You know, HR is really there to protect the company, not you, and you shouldn't go to HR with your personal issues. That's why we put this call center in place. The truth is HR is not a professional on everything either. They just have to go to somebody else to get the answer. So let's take them out of the equation. Let's eliminate the middleman. Go directly to our team. They're licensed, they know the answers, they know how to get them. We have our own dedicated people at the insurance companies, so that's why we can call and get things solved quicker. But we set up this team. So people love that right out of the gate. But when it comes to HR in general, some companies have a dedicated HR department. That could be one person. That could be the owner. That could be the owner, the HR, and 6 other departments all combined into one. So there's often people taking on a lot of responsibility, and they don't have the time to focus on all the requirements or needs of that responsibility. That's where we help. Tons of education. Lots of education on what every group needs to do. God bless you. People don't realize that, when ERISA was passed 1974, Employee Retirement Income Security Act and the Affordable Care Act, under both of those laws, there is a laundry list of things employers need to do when they offer benefits. Even if they don't offer benefits, there's a list of things they need to do. And it's overwhelming. And nobody comes to your business and says, hey, you now opened a business, congratulations, here's everything you need to do.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, they're often sitting there going, do I have to do that? Do I have to report that? Does that apply to me? Am I big enough? Am I small enough? All that education we provide, whether it is through just some websites that we have that has it built in there, whether it's access to SHRM professionals, Society for Human Resource Management, if you want access to HR professionals, or whether it's coming to us. We have our Director of Legislative Awareness, works very closely with a team of ERISA attorneys that will sit down and help companies understand what their requirements are. What do I need to file?
Important.
What do I need to do? What can you help me with? What documents can I give you to give to your employees to satisfy ERISA? So there's a lot of things that we do to help from an HR standpoint. Handbook builders. People will say to me, can I do this? Can I do that? What's your handbook say?
What?
I don't have one. That's the first thing a company needs to do. You've got to have a handbook with your policy stated. If there's ever a dispute on something from an employee, that's the first place they're going to look, is your handbook. The next place they're going to look is your wrap document, another legal document you're supposed to have in place. These are things that we help employers with. We'll give you a handbook builder. We'll let you build a living handbook. You plug your information in. It's a living handbook, so if the laws change, you get a notice. Hey, this law changed locally. It impacts your handbook. Would you like to update your handbook?
That's nice.
Yes, update my handbook. So we help employers with a lot of HR resources behind the scenes. I do open enrollment guidebooks every year. Employees have to have some guidebook electronically or in hand that tells them about their benefits. What's my medical? What's my deductible? What's my copay? Do I got good dental?
Yeah.
You gotta give it.
Dental's rough.
Dental can be rough.
It's a little tough.
Yeah. But the thing is with, so traditional dental plans have out of pocket for things like crowns and fillings. We have dental plans for your members that cover those at 100%. So yes, dental can be rough, but as an employer, there are ways where you're struggling with the medical, we're struggling to deal with all that, but you can bring a better dental plan that when somebody leaves after having to pay nothing for a filling that might have cost them hundreds of dollars, they're going to appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know that chamber members have said they've been part of your program, and I mean, I hate to say this about some of our chamber members who are in the program, but we don't see them.
Yeah.
They're just there because they work with you.
Correct.
So, because their benefit is so well.
Yeah.
So, we'd like to see them though.
Yeah, we need to get them to come and hang out at some networking. Yeah.
I can stop by.
Yeah.
I'll stop in.
No, but we do have people who have just joined the chamber to buy the health insurance. Again, it's a deep toolbox. It's a lot of solutions. It's things you're not going to get off the street. That's what differentiates it. That's why people should join your chamber, to get things that they can't get elsewhere.
Amongst other things.
There's so many reasons to join, right? We joined a network. We joined to get our name on. Heck, some joined for certificate of origin and stuff like, right? What is that? What even is that?
I haven't done one of those in like a year. I don't know why we're in, I have to say, because we're not a government entity.
Yeah.
We're a trade organization. And we're in charge of these letters of origin. Yeah. And people come in and they're like, hi, I would like to bring in oil from the Middle East. Can you stamp my papers? Me?
Yeah.
Why am I stamping your papers? It just has to show that they have a legit business and that I have this special stamper, so if anybody needs one, please come in. You need bread or oil, that's usually what it is. So random cooking stuff. And so I stamp this, and they're allowed to bring in these products from the Middle East. And apparently, I'm a huge deal out there.
Yeah.
They think I am so high up there in the government in the United States, and I'm like, I just have a stamp. And
you better call Mandy.
Call Mandy.
Call Mandy. Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, I had no idea. But I won't forget the first time when I was super green at the chamber and somebody walked in and was like, hi, I need a letter of origin. And I'm like, a what?
Okay.
And I'm in old files trying. I'm like, does anybody know what a letter of origin? No, nobody tells me anything. And so I sit there and I stamp the paperwork and.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, now those people can join for the health insurance.
And they're
also
particular about where the stamp goes.
Oh, right.
They're like, no, it can't be there. It has to be right
That's
here, and
it.
your signature here with the, you know.
Yeah. You got to do
High
more
pressure.
so you know all that. Right.
Yeah. And complimentary to our members.
Yeah. It's a great service. Yeah. So lots of reasons to join the chamber.
Yeah.
And we're happy to be just one of them.
And we do business support too. And you guys are a great partner. You are our series sponsor for our coffee hours, which is one of our favorite events, I think, each month. All of our chamber members really love coming, and you guys inform them every time, which I think is so important. Keep letting them know, because sometimes people are, you know, if you've looked at how marketing works, and there's the early adapters, and then there's the laggards, which is usually me when it comes to electronics. I'm like, oh, like that ring. I'm like, give me 2 years. It'll be like $50. I'll buy it then.
You on AI yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I am on that.
Okay.
I am. God, I couldn't live without it. Except for that AI guy scared me yesterday during our coffee hour. We were all like,
yeah,
anyway. But you do a good job of informing them, because some people just take their time getting to know what you're doing. They're like, you know, they're slow adopters. So you have to kind of like say, okay, here's really why it's really good for you. So it's nice. And coffee hours are always, you know, we're full for most of our coffee hours. So that's a good
you're right.
opportunity.
There's lots of reasons to talk to us. Some people want to talk to us right at renewal because they want lower health insurance rates. You know, okay, what can you do? Go out and lower my rates. But the truth is we talk to most people outside of renewal, and it's about the whole, you know, it's about everything. It's about bringing more to the employees. It's about bringing more education. It's about supporting the owner more. I've had people come to me and say, I really like my health insurance. I don't want to change it. I'm good with whatever company, but I want all that other stuff. I want my employees supported. I want to have the handbook builder. I want open enrollment guidebooks. I want access to SHRM professionals, and I want to call your director of legislative awareness and find out if I'm even near compliance or not. Yeah. That is probably one of the biggest things we get. I just want to sit down with somebody and find out if
we're doing this right.
Yeah, if DOL, Department of Labor, knocks on my door, or I get a 226J letter in the mail, and it says, have you done all these things? Can I prove that I've done all those things by my employees? And I think that's one of the scariest things, because if you have just one employee buying just dental, you're subject to ERISA. That means there's at least 12 notices you have to give out every year. There's things like a WRAP document, a summary plan description that has to be prepared. And so it's very overwhelming. And for most employers, that's the scariest part. Some of them don't want to talk to me because they don't want to know what they don't know.
They don't want to know.
But the truth is our director of legislative awareness, her name is Shelley. She is one of the most educated, amazing people I've ever met in my life. She's not there to scare you. She's just there to help you. You know, here's.
She knows the things.
Yeah.
You don't know the things.
That's right.
Talk to her.
That's right. And she'll say to you, hey,
important.
look, you need to do this. Here's some tools. You can do it on your own. If you need somebody to do it for you, here's some people you can go talk to do it for you. But if you want to do it on your own, we'll help support you. You know, we're not looking to sell people stuff. We're looking to help people be protected and save money. But if there's something that they need that they're not willing to do on their own, we'll find them the best cost. We have a company we work with, of a team of ERISA attorneys that prepare legal documents that do it for your members for pennies on the dollar compared to what they'll do outside of your members. So if somebody off the street were to call them, the cost for these legal documents are going to be much higher than it would be for one of your members.
That's good.
But we'll help them figure it out so they don't even have to pay for it.
Well, that's a nice benefit.
Yeah.
For your advisor, see my benefit advisor.
Yeah, my benefit advisor.
And you have, just to touch on, you have a couple other products that you also serve that help our members. So can you tell me a little bit more about those?
Yeah, so 1992 is when the Chamber Choice program started, and it started with health insurance. And over years, we started talking to business owners about what their biggest costs are. What's the biggest impacts to you? Probably about somewhere in early 2000s, we added an energy program because we found that energy was one of the top 5 most expensive costs, and it's going up, unfortunately.
So going up. What, June 17th?
June,
Or no,
yeah.
it's going to 17%, isn't it? Or
So in
17
June, sometime in June, it's going to go up a couple like 2 cents per kilowatt hour due to regulations. This has nothing to do with the actual, it's the transmission. It's the regulations from the government that's driving this up. So it's unavoidable is what it comes down to. You're not going to switch providers and get this 2 cents to go away. Everybody's going to be impacted by it. But we have an energy program for your members, and with that energy program, there are ways to offset that cost through things they can do to save money in other areas. So back in the, I don't even know what year it was, energy was deregulated here it was deregulated in the entire US, but it started with Duquesne Light. They were the first energy company to be deregulated, and what that meant was, prior to deregulation, Duquesne Light made the energy, they transferred it across the poles. They have returned dividends every year. I believe the only year they didn't, that it was flat, was a COVID year, which means if I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars a year on my workers' comp, errors and omission, liability, vehicles, content, I could get a dividend back as a percentage of that. So some years it was as high as 12%. It was as low as 2%. That's not bad, though, to get money back from your business insurance company.
That's not terrible.
That's a great thing. And what's really neat is, some of the agents went and printed the big cardboard checks and presented them and did the big photo ops. And do you know how excited people get to have a big check with like $10,000 or more on it? Really a big, it was awesome. So Penn National is the business insurance program. You have many agents within your chamber who sell that program. If not, they can reach out to you. We'll get them connected with a local agent in the area who sells Penn National or represents it. Sure. Again, I don't guarantee it to be the lowest, but they're going to go out and get a quote every year from multiple carriers, right? You're going to do your due diligence. You're going to do your homework. Include Penn National, because when they're the best fit, you're going to get in a dividend program.
Good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I think we touched most of the insurance energy. Did I miss anything? I know you're there. I see you thinking. What did I miss?
The toolbox is so deep, and there's so many things in there, and we could spend just an entire show on just one of the concepts and go all the way through it. But the idea is, if you're thinking about offering insurance, or you do offer insurance today, we should talk. There's no cost to talk. There's no pressure. We should talk outside of renewal. Don't call me saying my plan renews in 15 days and can you get me lower rates, because the answer is going to be yes, but it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk outside of renewal. And let's just talk about what you're doing, what your benefits look like today, and what we can do to either supplement it, enhance it, or make it better.
Good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on. They share lots of information at our coffee hours as well. So they actually bring the whole team along. So you'll get even more in-depth conversation about each of their different programs that they run. And always you can contact the chamber if you want connected with Craig or any of his team. And thanks for coming on today. And we'll be sharing this out shortly. So thank you everyone who watched the Southwestern PA Business Podcast. I'm Mandy with the Chamber. And don't forget, we have a golf outing June 27th, 2025. It's a Friday at Moon Golf Club, so anyone can come. You don't have to be a member. You can be a non-member. Come join us. It's a lot of fun. You can be terrible or you can be great. It's up to you. Lots of fun, games and prizes, and we do have lunch for any of you non-golfers out there. So thank you, Craig, again for coming on. Please follow up with any questions you have with Craig, and I'll provide the information, or you can contact the chamber. Thanks, and see you again soon.
Thank you.